Ever scroll through social media and feel like everyone else has it figured out while you're sitting in the middle of mess? Hello, I've been there too. You're not alone. And today's Giovanna Silvestre is living proof that confusion can actually be a path to clarity. We're diving into what it means to embrace the unknown, trust your own path, and discover the gifts that are already inside of you. Giovanna's story will remind you that the messy middle isn't something to hide, it's something to honor. Now, I know all you guys are multitasking, listening to this as you drive, as you work, as you do dishes, whatever it is. But for a moment, if you can, I want you to pause and just get really present as we take this beautiful somatic break. I want you to give yourself a moment to ground into your own journey, especially if you're feeling behind, especially if you're feeling unsure. So let's take a moment. And wherever you are, sitting, standing, driving, let's just pause. This is a moment for you. And if it feels good, gently close your eyes if you can, if you're able to. And take a deep breath in through your nose. And a slow, gentle exhale through your mouth. Feel your body arrive. Right here, right now. Take another deep breath in through your nose and a slow, gentle exhale through your mouth. Now say this in your mind. I don't need to figure it out all right now. I am safe. Peace is available to me. Now let your breath gently move in and out, feeling all the tension and stress float away. Let your shoulders drop just a little more. Feel your jaw unclenching. Let your mind soften. You don't have to have the answers all right now. Just know that everything is coming to you. And from this place of softness, of stillness, clarity will rise. One more deep breath in. And exhale. You are not behind. You are not broken. You are not alone. You are in the process. And that middle is special. That middle is sacred. I'm so excited for us to dive into this beautiful episode today. Giovanna Silvestre has a unique activewear brand inspired by healing crystals. She's driven by her determination and innate sense of design, and her innovative creations have been promoted on NBC, Forbes, and she has over 4,000 followers, 4,100, there we go, followers on Instagram. In May of 2025, this year, right now, her book is coming out, Confused Girl, Find Your Peace in the Chaos. And it was written during her 2-year solo travel around the world. I'm so excited to dive into this episode and into her human design chart. All right, we'll see you in the side of the episode. Giovanna, thank you so much for being on the podcast today.
So happy to be here.
Well, what made you realize how many people feel alone in their journey?
You know, when I was going before, actually, even before I fell into my depression, I kind of felt like I was a zombie in my own life. Like I was just kind of going through the motions, and I didn't feel aligned in the life that I was living. Like I was doing a job I didn't feel aligned with. I was dating someone I didn't feel aligned with. And I just didn't feel aligned with myself. So it felt like I wasn't even in my body. It was a very weird thing to kind of
Yes.
explain, but
Like that disassociative feeling,
yeah,
right?
like you're just kind of going through the motions, but you're not fully there.
Yes. So tell me, like, you went through this dark depression. Tell me the backstory of that.
Well, so I, that was leading up to it, that
Yes.
feeling. And then I I fell into this depression because I decided that I didn't want to do the two careers I tried in my 20s and spent all of my 20s doing. I didn't want to do. I realized that I didn't like myself. I had put my self-worth into like everything outside of myself. So I didn't feel like I had any self-worth. And I didn't feel like I had any self-worth if, like my self-worth was put into my boyfriend or my career and, some kind of success or money or car or whatever it was, right? So all these external things, and I didn't feel good just about me. So to get out of my depression, I was like, you know what? This is how I got here, and I don't want to do this again. So my main goal is to feel worthy just because I exist. Like, I just want to feel good in my own skin. I just want to feel like I deserve to be here. I just want to be worthy because I'm alive and I'm not a bad person. It's funny how we act like we're these awful people when we're not, and we're just torturing ourselves. And so that was the first step, was just really realizing that. And then, starting to practice things that somebody who loved themselves would.
And that's what I feel like so many of us come to the table feeling like we have to earn love. We have to earn love for ourselves. We have to earn love from others. And we put ourselves in a position of deficit when we're trying to earn love. And so, what did you do to flip the script on that? I think that wanting is the first step. And then what did you do after to really like change that?
Well, when I was in my depression, I
Yes.
got to a point where I just felt so bad. I was very much in like a mental prison of negative thoughts, but it got so bad that I just didn't care what anybody else thought anymore. And I think it's good to get to that point where you're just like, screw it. Like, I don't care anymore. I feel so bad. I just don't care anymore. And then like everything that I thought kind of defined me got taken away, or not even that it got taken away. I left it. Like, I broke up with my boyfriend. I left the careers. I was making these decisions, so I was actually the one doing it, and because I didn't want it, but it had defined me and my worth. So without it, it's like, well, then you have no worth, And I realized that that was wrong, that that was not the correct way to believe or to think. But I kind of lived my whole life just thinking that my accolades were my worth, my money was my worth, who liked me was my worth, my boyfriend was my worth. Like, I really grew up thinking that. And then you go, well, who am I? And how can I get worth?
Yes, how can you get worth? And you talk about this in your book, this going from this chaos really to finding this place of fulfillment within yourself, finding this place of joy within yourself. And talk me like, so how did you go from like this depression to and dropping everything to writing a whole book on your experience?
Well, I mean, it was like a decade, like,
Yes.
it's so funny because when people hear things or see things, they think, oh, she just did this overnight. And it's like, oh, no, no, no. This was a decade. Now it was actually more than a decade. We're going on like 12 years here of just, discovering things and figuring things out and all of that. But, I would say that the reason why I actually ended up calling my brand Confused Girl, and I wrote a book called Confused Girl, Find Your Peace in the Chaos, is because I wanted to take the shame out of being confused. And I think that we torture ourselves when we feel like we don't have the answers. We don't understand why we're unhappy. We don't understand why we feel the way we feel. And then instead of looking at it objectively and trying to understand and being curious about it, we judge ourselves, which just makes it worse and doesn't allow us to understand what's going on and be curious about it and play with it. And so I was like, you know what? I got to stop shaming myself because I don't have the answers. Nobody has the answers. Nobody was born with a manual on how to do their life. We all come in
Exactly.
here and it's one big experiment for all of our lives. And I really do feel like we're all little warriors on our own journey.
Yes.
And no one can tell you really what to do. You can take advice from people, you can listen to people, but you have to, I think the most important thing one can do is to be able to listen to your own internal guidance system and connect with that and let that lead you. And then decipher like, ooh, okay, is this coming in through like the universe and it's a breadcrumb, or is this like a test?
Yes. Well, and the point of like nothing happens overnight. I feel like as high achieving women in this space of building brands and businesses, and you have a very successful, you've built a successful brand with like 400,000 followers on Instagram and in a space that's actually kind of congested too. So I'm super impressed with that. But like nothing happens overnight and our journeys are actually the key part in where we're going. They're not really the destination that we think is in the pocket, but it's the key part of moving one step in front of the other, one step in front of the other. So over these 12 years, what was like a key pivotal moment during that time for you?
Well, I think, there were so many of them, but I think really saying I want to feel worthy just because I exist was a really key thing because now I was having a foundation I could build on. If I was able to just feel good because I exist and have like a decent level of self-worth, then everything could be built onto that and I could get through life in a more healthy way instead of, somebody says something to me that hurts my feelings and then I'm down. Or an obstacle comes and it hurts and now I'm down. And I was like, I need to figure out a way because before I was like bulldozing and I was like kind of like bearing the emotions, pretending like it didn't bother me when it did. And it was just adding to this internal shame I felt inside. And it wasn't helpful at all. I feel like this is kind of what men do too. They just like
Yes.
bury it. It was kind of like
Yes.
just bury it. And I'm like, I can't bury this anymore. It's like
Yes.
exploding inside of me. And I was like, I have to deal with this and build some kind of solid foundation for myself in which I could build a life that was more fulfilling to me and just at the end of the day, just felt better.
Yes. Well, and we both have one thing in common of a parent passing away and how devastating that is and how hard that is to go through. And I think that's what I felt like when my mom passed away. I just felt like, well, part of it, I was just going through the motions of doing the funeral, helping my dad, helping my siblings and my kids, because everybody was feeling a loss of that moment. And then when it came my turn to feel it, I was like, I don't like feeling those feelings. Those feel awful and terrible. And I don't like feeling that. So I was
Yeah.
like stuffing it away. And I remember my neighbor who was asking how I was doing. She's like, she had her father pass away a year before. And she told me, she's like, if you don't do the work now, it will come up later. Just face it now. And I remember like feeling, okay, that was like a sign that I needed to shift and change,
Yeah.
unbury what was there.
Well, and people just get so freaking crazy when somebody dies. Like
Yes.
everybody loses their mind.
Yes.
It's so confronting that life is impermanent. Like we all think like we're going to be here forever and these like, things matter. And because my dad was an immigrant to this country from Italy and he grew up without anything, it was kind of like money and security was like a big deal for him because he didn't have that growing up. So he wasn't I wouldn't say he was greedy or money hungry or anything like that. He was a successful businessman who was frugal and he just held on to it. You know what I mean? Which is a good thing too.
Yes.
But it was just like, oh my God, should have that last time you went to Europe, you should have just flown first class. Like he was like sick and he was going back to Italy. And we're like, just let's buy you a first class ticket. Like, let's get you on first class. Nope, 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 nope. Once he knew the price, he was going economy. And it's like, oh my God, like nobody would have, my mom wouldn't have cared if he dropped money on that. And it was just like, you didn't take it with you. You can't
Yes.
take it with you. You can't take any of this with you. I believe in the afterlife. I believe you take your soul. I believe you take your, your karma and your beautiful memories and the good karma and the bad karma and all of it. But I don't believe you, well, no, you don't take your money and you don't take
Yes,
your material possessions. So it's like, well, if you can't take it with you, then how important is it? Because there is nobody's getting out of here alive. So
exactly.
put
Yeah.
things into perspective with all of that. And, yeah, sorry, I don't know how I got off on this tangent because you were talking about mourning
Yes.
and, well, I mean, just about how people get crazy after somebody dies. Yeah, I think people do get crazy, and my whole family went nuts, and there was a lot of family drama. And so it was like I couldn't even feel like I could mourn my dad because I was just having to navigate getting through all of this crud with these crazy people. And then we had two funerals. We had a funeral in California because he had a business here for 30 years, and then we he wanted to be buried in Italy, so we had a funeral there. And then, it's crazy how much drama funerals bring up and everything. And
Yes.
by the time it was all done, I just went to Sicily by myself for a month and I just stayed by myself and I was able to mourn and just, do some crazy things and get it out of my system. I'm not my second book. I want to write a second book about this because I think it's so relatable and kind of funny in a lot of ways, like sad and funny. But it's a big thing when somebody who is a prominent figure in your life dies.
It is.
It's a chapter two. One chapter
Yes.
closes and another chapter starts.
Yes, and navigating that adds to this trying to find yourself and trying to embrace yourself. Now, you built a big brand in the yoga clothing space, very successful, and then you decided to leave and go to Europe for a couple years right before COVID.
Yes.
How did this help you in discovering who you really are and who you're really meant to be and what you're meant to bring to this world?
Well, so I created my yoga line like
Yes.
before everybody was doing it. Like I am an OG of the yoga leggings. Like I was, Lululemon at the time was a very niche brand. There was a couple of other independent yoga brands and like I was before Aloe Yoga and Beyond Yoga and all that. And so I, saw a need in the market for it. I was inspired to do it. Yoga really helped me find like tranquility and peace. And so I created this yoga wear line, got it off the ground, but I was having problems scaling it. Like I couldn't figure out how to scale it. And in the meantime, all of these other brands are getting created. And I kind of knew that it wasn't going to keep bringing in the income it was bringing. Like I kind of knew
Yes.
that. And I was like, okay, well, you know what? I got inspired to write this book because I wanted to help other confused girls out there. And I thought, okay, it's now my time. Let's go. Let's go now. When the business is making you money, I made it mobile. I also wasn't able to, I couldn't figure out how to scale it. So I was like, okay, that's not the path. I redirected and I wanted to live in a different country for a couple of years. I wanted to do that. So I'm like, now or never, girl, let's do it. And so I just took off and it was amazing. I lived in Indonesia for a year and then I lived in Berlin for a year. And I learned so much. I learned that I love to write. I learned a lot about these different cultures. I learned a lot about myself and that I can be really self-sufficient in different countries.
Ooh, that is, I think that's intimidating. I've traveled outside the country and I always get kind of, well, I'm a nervous traveler now with having MS, like, because my energy goes kind of crazy and I have to depend on other people to help me and make sure I can get where I need to go. And I hate feeling dependent, but whatever. I should learn to ask for help more. That's one of the things I'm working on. But it's that I think create that travel creates this real presence in the moment of being somewhere, but it also creates this beautiful ability to see, I can do this. There's a different language here. I can navigate that. I can appreciate the culture or the food or these new experiences. There's so much newness that can either be intimidating, and of course it can be, but it also can be invigorating and can teach us that we are really have all the tools and we can make things happen. Your book speaks so beautifully to that. What do you hope readers will feel after turning the last page?
I really hope readers walk away feeling a sense of, I'm going to be okay. And I hope that they feel more in alignment with themselves. Like because the whole purpose of the book was to find your true nature. Because so much of the world is constantly telling you to go outside of yourself, that the grass is greener. And I'm like, the grass is greener where you water it, which is water your own grass. And whatever lifestyle you choose to live is okay. I mean, as long as you're not like killing people or hurting people,
Yes.
but whatever lifestyle you choose to live is great. Just let it be in alignment with who you are. If you want to have a family because you really want a family, not because your family wants you to have a family, or you think you don't know what else to do and you just think that's it. Or same thing with being like a career woman or whatever. Don't do it because it looks cool, or you want to say, "Oh yeah, I'm a career woman," like, but you really want to be a mom. Like, I'm just about, we're all different. We all have a different path. And if you can be in alignment with yourself, listen to yourself, follow the breadcrumbs the universe leads for you, and you're going to live a very fulfilling, magical, beautiful life. But if you're constantly thinking, oh, this is better, that's better, I want this now, I want that, you're going to constantly be in a state of lack and never feeling good enough. And so that was, I think, the main purpose of my book. And the confusion just about life and everything is what helps you get there by
Mm.
actually understanding that confusion is a virtue.
Mm.
And if you accept your confusion, you'll start to go into a mode of discovery and curiosity. Like, what is this? What do I want? Who am I? Why am I here? And to really marinate in those questions, don't let those questions scare you, but actually marinate in them and explore them. Because if you think about it, like, we're constantly told who we are since we're babies, and then we're, in elementary school, and they're saying, okay, they're good at math and they're good at this, or she's good at sports, or he's good at this, or she's too talkative, or he's too and you're being told who you are.
Yes. Well, and that goes so in line with human design. Human design is this like blueprint of how we are born. What gifts do we individually bring to the table? And sometimes it's really hard to see. We have blind spots for ourselves, and it's hard to see that for ourselves. You know what? Oftentimes my clients are like, well, I guess I was cool this one time, or I did this one thing, but it doesn't really it's not really it aligned for a moment, but when we look at human design, it rewires our brain to say, you know what? I have this gift. I was born with this gift. And that's such a different way to look at it. I was born with this gift rather than this cool thing happened once, it's kind of a one off situation. On your human design chart, you have amazing gifts that you were born with. And we look at you as a manifesting generator. And so, as a manifesting generator, um, this is your human design type. You have the ability to pivot and follow what excites you. And I love your story about like leaving Hollywood and totally turning the tables on the yoga industry and then going to Europe and writing a book. All these beautiful things. You're allowing yourself to pivot. And that is part of what makes magic for you is to move in the pivot. You also have multi-passionate focuses that are all over the place, They're one place over here, and they don't have to make sense to each other. They just have to light you up inside of you. And this is how you make things happen is through this light. What lights you up is the way that you're supposed to go in towards. So when you're making decisions, when you're looking at the next venture, when you're looking at the next pivot, think about, is this lighting me up? Is this making me excited? So how do you decide what's a true yes versus what's just a shiny object?
Exactly what you just said. Yeah, exactly what you said. And I actually write about that in my book, about how I already knew this because I had already, done the 2 years abroad and written my book, because that excited me. That did not feel overwhelming or scary. It honestly was just joy and excitement. Like, I was like, this is going to be so cool. Never wrote a book before, but okay, let's go ahead and do it, And then, when, uh, I when I got back when I came back to the States, it was COVID. And I thought, I was seeing all these people making money, hearing all these stories about people making money on Amazon. And I'm like, oh my God, well, I should use my time during COVID and I should try to figure this out and how to make money on Amazon and sell products. I ended up losing like $6,000 on some stupid Pilates rings I bought from China, and they were cheap and they didn't even work well. And then it was a hot mess that cost me a lot of money. And I was never excited about it. I was always just like, oh, I should do this because I'm not really doing anything all day.
Yes.
And this is, I should be thinking about how to make money so, and then I did that. I lost a ton of money and I'm like, that doesn't work for me. Following the money doesn't work for me and it doesn't excite me. And it's not, I mean, for other people, it works for them, but for me, it doesn't.
And that's the beautiful part is that's enough to know like, hey, this isn't for me. This isn't I can give myself permission to say no. And that is the beautiful thing is like you can give yourself permission to say no matter what else other people are doing and it looks like they're successful. It's that feeling that's going to lead to success.
Yes. Yes.
Yeah.
I agree.
Yeah. And then also on your chart is your inner authority. Now, an inner authority is how you make decisions best. So we're looking at like, okay, you're following your gut, right? And that's telling you, hey, go in this direction. And you're following that passionate energy. Well, this is this gut wisdom that comes in as almost as a double check with your excited, passionate energy. So you are guided by your deep wisdom of your gut. And so this is tuning into the yeses, that internal like response of, yes, I really want to do this light up feeling, this like, oh yeah, bring it on, versus a no, which feels like deflated. It feels like lacking. It feels like there's nothing really there for you,
Yeah.
So, how has your gut helped you make bold decisions? Because you've made some bold decisions.
Well, I mean, kind of in everything that
Yes.
I've done. It's all been just my gut. And then it was like things would move forward, but then there would be these blocks in the road. I think that's the misconception I write about this, about manifesting and following your true path, your destiny. Sometimes you can get self-doubt because you're like, why are these obstacles coming up all over the place right now? Like what, and where do you want me to go right now? Like, I've been listening, you brought me here and now you're making it really difficult. It's like, what are you doing? And I just think that's part of like the test of trust. Like, how much faith do you have in me? How much trust do you have in me? Do you really believe? Like, are you really ready to put it all on the line? Or are you going to try to control again and go into your humanness and need to control everything? And I mean, for me, my book was rejected for 2.5 years, and I could have given up and gotten mad and felt bad about myself, but I just didn't. I really surrendered and just let it go. I wrote it. I did a book proposal, which is like a mini book within itself. I found a really good agent. I did what I could do. And I don't feel like it's time for me to make any moves. Like, let me just, and I didn't want to, like if I was all nervous and trying to control it, I'd be like, well, my agent didn't get it published. So now I'm going to take it back. I'm going to self-publish. And thank God I didn't do that, because then, 2 months before my father passed away, 2 publishing companies had a bidding war on my book. So I got a bigger advance than I ever thought I would get. I mean, it's gorgeous. I mean, it's like, they made it so gorgeous. Even when you take off this cover,
Yes.
it's like rose quartz crystal. Cause I'm
Which is
like,
so you.
so me with because I have a crystal inspired activewear lines. It's just like, wow, that would not have been possible if I was being all crazy and trying to control it. But because I surrendered and I let go and I didn't fret, and then it all was just happening. And it's just been the coolest process. I've just been like, okay. And then anytime I try to put my hands on the wheel and control, it's like the car stops. You got to think about it like that. I think it's a good way. It's like once you're like scared and then you like are controlling, it's like the car just stops. But once you take your hands off the wheel and just trust, it's like a driverless car, and then it just drives for you and gets you there with no accidents and right on time. And
Yes, it's like have you heard of Waymo? It's like the
yeah, the driverless cars. Yeah.
Yes, I've been in one and I
Yeah.
was like, my control wants to like take over.
You
And
go,
I'm like, wait
yeah.
a second. It's going to be okay. Waymo's going to get me there. And it does. And it does such a good job. And it's like that same thing of allowing the control to go away, because control is a sabotaging character. And
Yes.
we can say, hey, I'm not going to listen to that. I'm going to choose to look at my gut. I'm going to choose to look at what's lighting me up and go in that direction. Well, another thing I think what has been so fascinating about your journey is so much of your body is guiding you to the places you need to go to. And if you look on the body graph on your human design chart, there's all these centers. They're either colored in white or they're colored in green. And all of these have a gift that you were born with. When they're colored in green, that means you have that gift all the time. And when they're colored in white, it means it comes in ebbs and flows. And that's a whole nother thing that we get to look at. But one of your green centers is your G center, and this is your human GPS. This mantra that goes with this is, I'm guided by my inner compass that never fails me. So you have this center that is giving you clarity, that is telling you to trust in yourself, that is telling you this path that you're feeling inside of you that's coming, and it can come in whispers and it can come in monumentous moments. But whatever that is, that direction is going to come from within you, and it needs no external validation. It doesn't need to make sense. It's just the path that you get to go down and follow and trust yourself even more. How do you reconnect with that feeling when you're feeling overwhelmed or uncertain?
I go to yoga.
Yes.
When, when I'm feeling overwhelmed or uncertain, I really think it's important to, try to move your body in some way. Even if it's just like turning on some music in your living room, just like dancing around for a little bit, or, whatever it is. I think moving the body is really important, or sitting down and meditating and taking some quiet time with yourself. I mean, for me, it's yoga. So when those emotions feel overwhelming and I'm not feeling in alignment and I am having self-doubt, because it just happens. We're human, and there's no reason to feel bad about it. It's just part of being human. It's an uncertain journey. And, I just go to yoga and I just let go. And I pray, and I just, I'm like, please help me. And I just kind of get realigned. And then afterward, it's like, okay, I feel peaceful. I feel peaceful. I might have to do it a couple days in a row, but then I get my peace. And then I think when you're in that state of peace and just feel good, where you can go out on a walk and go, oh gosh, look at those flowers. They're so beautiful. And then that's when, actually, I'm going to go there. I think I need to go there. Or that's a really great idea. I think I need to do that. And then you open yourself up to letting the inspiration come in. And then it's like things just start happening. And then what I do is I just take action. I'm really good about getting the inspiration and go, okay, well, I'm going to send out 10 emails today to those people. And then just the act of doing that, even if nothing happens with that, it'll open up something else. Or I get an email back that says, actually, you should look at this. And then I'll just follow that. And so then I'm leaping from one dot to the next dot. And
Yes.
sometimes I don't even know how I got to the final dot, but
Yes.
it's like that.
And that's such an MG thing to do as well, too, is just follow the pivot and the bounce. So I almost think of MGs as a bouncy ball, and when you throw a bouncy ball, it just bounces and you can't control where it goes. It's just like, ping,
Yeah.
that's totally what you are. You're like, ping, here we are. And rolling with that trust of the process and not trying to control. Like when we go after a bouncy ball and we're trying to grab it, everybody looks dumb because they're trying to grab this thing that's jumping all over the place. But that's how we are looking at ourselves. We're trying to control. We're trying to be in the driver's seat, whereas the pathway becomes open to us as we step onto it and as we allow the openness to take us to the next, to the next, to the next. And then look back and have this beautiful story of writing this book, of doing your true purpose, and it's coming all together and having that bidding war. I mean, come on, that's like freaking awesome, And then another part on your chart is these lines. So when we're looking at the body graph, there's all these lines on there. They look kind of chaotic. And when they're colored in, this just means this is another layer and gift of your personality, another characteristic to lean into even more. And I always ask myself too, like when I'm looking at my human design chart, I'm like, and I'm learning more about myself, I'm like, hey, how can I use this gift even more in my life? even more in my business because it feels the flow and joy when we do so. So you have this channel, this line that connects from one center to the next center. And its channel, this mantra is my voice activates transformation. This is one of those most powerful channels in the human design system. It's channel 3420 for everybody who's looking at their chart too. And it is this expression and manifestation. And you have this energy that allows you to influence others deeply just by being present and just by speaking your truth. So, how does it feel when you speak and you see people shift and light up?
They like thank you for saying that,
Yes.
because I definitely do see that sometimes. And I don't even know how to react to it sometimes. I'm kind of like, whoa, there was somebody got something, and I'm not trying to. I'm not, and honestly, like I'm in my daily life with my friends. And I'm a funny person too. Like I make a lot of jokes. And I mean, my mom and I were just together. And when we get together, it's just like we're laughing like nonstop. Like I'll make her pee her pants. She'll laugh so hard. And, and even that, like, even sometimes with the joking, I'll pick funny things in life, like things I think are comical in life, and then it kind of becomes this profound thing. But what I've gathered from it because I've never really, you see something, but you're not consciously thinking about it. I was never
Yes.
consciously, until you just said this, I wasn't consciously paying attention to it, but I see what you're talking about. But I just look at it kind of like, well, I've just gotten to this place where I'm and I know this word is so overused, very authentic I'm not trying to be authentic. I'm just saying stuff that I'm thinking or it just comes out. And sometimes it's not appropriate. Like I will say things that shock people. I will say inappropriate things sometimes and I'll be like, oh my God, why did I just say that? I don't want to get in trouble, And like your mouth is gonna get you into trouble. But I think I'll just say things and people are like a little bit like, whoa, that was just super real. Like she's real.
Yes.
And either people love me for it and I think admire me or they hate me. They're like, it's because it's a mirror. And
Yes.
and I can see through a lot of BS because like I write about, I worked in Hollywood for a long time. I grew up in my parents' restaurant business where you're constantly surrounded by people. So I've just like I met this it was at this blogger event and I met this travel influencer girl
Yes.
and I was like, "Oh my God, she's a con artist." And so is her husband. I was like, "These people are con artists." And I said it to somebody, but then it looked like I was talking trash and might be jealous.
Yeah.
I could see how that could look. And I wasn't though, because I'm like, no, she's a con artist. And then it came out a few years later that she conned people out of all this money. And then I think she's still doing it, like subtly. Like I think she's still doing it. And I'm just like, but I knew it from the beginning. But when I said it to somebody, then I look like the jerk. So now I have to like be really careful about what I say too soon. And also people need to figure out things in their own time.
Hmm.
I am very good at that. And I think it kind of can shock people sometimes or they don't want to hear it.
Yeah. Well, and it does create those ripples. And just knowing that, like, when we're in the flow, we're going to say the things that you're going to say the things that are supposed to be said, you know? And some people are going to get it and some people are not. But the truth to you is the truth that you share, you know? And that's so vital. And as you lean into this gift of speaking and, again, with your book and promoting it and podcasting and all these things, that's what you're meant to do is to use your voice for that change and to really connect with others. One other part on your chart is a gate. And this is another one of those lines on the body graph. And the mantra for this is I rise together with others. So you have this energy of deep commitment and service and linking arms with others, collaboration, showing up, creating energy together is really what lights you up and helps fulfill your mission and your purpose here. How has this like linking arms with people really filled your soul?
Well, it's interesting because I'm not a group person. I've never been a group person. And I've always like shied away from them. I've always kind of just done my own thing. And that can be a very lonely path, kind of like a lone
Yes.
ranger. But I do really love people. And I love coming together with people, especially when it's like a good vibe. I love
Yes.
it.
Yes.
but I don't need people all the time. Like I don't need to be with them all the time. Like some people really do need people all the time, and that's fine. But I'm just like not one of them. But I enjoy being around, and going out and having a good time. Or, I was a part of the Big Brothers Big Sisters organization. I was a big sister for a few years, and I loved my little sister. She's going to come to my book launch. Yeah, and May 18th is the party, and she's going to be there. And then actually the Big Brother Big Sisters organization is going to be there too.
My gosh.
5 bigs and 5 littles, and this organization just was transformative for me. So I love stuff like that,
Yeah.
I love that kind of stuff. But again, I am a lone like ranger.
Yes. Yeah. Well, and I think that point of it's a very meaningful, it's very meaningful connection. So if it's not meaningful, it's not meant for you. But if it is meaningful, look at the joy that that brought to your life. And then if you're in this lull of like, oh, I'm trying to find more meaning, think about this gate and think about, oh, how can I find more meaning in collaboration with others that feels right to me? For the audience, if someone is struggling with feeling confusion and they're unsure of the first step, what would you tell them?
Honestly, I think the first step is just to embrace it and not reject it, not shame yourself. Allow yourself to get curious about it. Like take a pad of paper and a pen and write down some questions you have. Like what are you confused about? Is it your career? Why do you think you're confused about your career? What are some emotions around your career? Is it because you've been in it for 10 years and now you're scared to leave because you put so much time in it? What would you want to do? Allow yourself to explore. And then I would say the second step, and I would say start trying new things. And then this is what I did. I would just go on Groupon and I would find something new to do. I mean, I did the flying trapeze, I did like boxing class, I did a lot of funny things. But when you try new things and you put yourself in different situations, you're gaining confidence, you're learning who you are, you're learning what you like and what you don't like. It seems trivial and you're like, what's the point of this? This is just
Yes.
wasting time and money, but it's not. It's actually I think one of the best things you could do for yourself because you're opening up yourself to a realm of possibility and you're opening yourself up to yourself and getting to know yourself. And so it's like once a month, go on Groupon and find something that looks interesting, kind of random. Maybe something you've never done before. Go do it.
Yes, I love that. And it's about doing things that kind of scare us, but recognizing we have all the skill to be able to do so. And there's something new and adventurous with that on the other side. Now,
Yeah.
I know that everybody would love to get into your world and would love to hear more about your book. So tell us like all the things.
Okay, so my book comes out May 13th, and I'm doing a pre-order giveaway right now. So if you pre-order the book, and it can be in any format, audio, digital, hard copy, then you'll enter to win a 2-night stay in an oceanfront room in Maui.
My gosh.
Also a $100 gift card to my store. So you'll get to go to Maui with your book and your yoga gear and an oceanfront room. And the place is amazing. I mean, Napili Kai Resort, where someone will be staying, like it's incredible. So,
That sounds amazing. Okay. And we'll have that link in the show notes so that everybody can jump onto that. Again,
yes.
thank you so much for being on the podcast. Thank you for sharing your story and the beautiful parts of your human design chart.
Thank you so much. I appreciate you, Courtney. Thank you.
Thank you. And remember, everybody listening, that clarity doesn't always come in a straight line. Sometimes it's a spiral, sometimes it's stillness, and sometimes it's softness. You are not behind, you are not alone, you are already enough. We'll see you in the next episode. Wasn't that so amazing? Oh my goodness, I came away with pages of notes and intentions that I've been feeling. And what I want you to do now is one thing, okay? I want you to either sit with the feeling that you've had during this episode. I want you to look at your notes and I want you to focus in on that one thing that you can do going forward. As human beings, we get so inspired by inspiring podcasts and speakers, and then we forget to zone in on one thing. And so I want you to focus in on that one thing that you can do moving forward. I'm going to give you just a pause because you know I like a pause, and a pause is easier to do with people. So I want you to pause and think of that one thing. Okay, the next thing I want you to do is I want you to write that one thing down, because as human beings, we always forget. I always forget too. And so I want you to write that thing down, either put it in the notes on your phone, put it on a sticky that you'll see different places. I want you to have that so you can go back to and reflect over and over again, because these episodes aren't just for you to inspire you in the moment, they're to inspire your actions going forward in the next moments. And I'm here to back you up. And I'm so grateful you're here. One thing I would love for you to do, as we get these messages out more and more, the thing that can help this podcast, and it can help me out so much, is for you to go like and subscribe and share these episodes. It's so easy. It just takes a second, but it helps other people to find these episodes. It helps the podcast to get out there, and I so appreciate it. So if you